Hey everybody, it's Queen Jelly and welcome to or welcome back to my toy box. This is a doll and toy themed YouTube channel aimed at adult collectors like myself. However, of course, I do my best to keep the channel family friendly, but it is something to keep in mind. With all that being said, today is going to be an unboxing of this BJD. It is actually Elsa from Frozen. We'll talk more about it in just a moment, but I want to remind y'all how my videos are structured. So I start with this little bit of a chat, talk about like what inspired me or like where I got the doll. Then we'll go on to, of course, the traditional review. And then at the end, I do like to add in some photos and if possible, tell you what's coming up next for my next unboxing. So use the timestamps down below if you're interested in those particular things. I do apologize if they're not there yet, but I will get them as soon as I can. With that being said, I also apologize if I'm a little bit disheveled. Last night I was up pretty late hand sewing. It took me about 3 hours, but I made this little outfit for my Labubu. If you can't tell, it is a jumpsuit from Fallout because there's going to be a Fallout house at Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I'm super excited for it. And so I went ahead, I even gave her a little Pip-Boy. But yeah, so I was up pretty late sewing this because once I get an idea, I kind of have to go with it. But I'm pretty proud of it. But anyway, so today's doll is going to be, like I said, this Frozen Elsa BJD. So the recommendation for this doll actually came from one of my current favorite doll tubers. Their channel is called Glasses Are a Gift, and it's run by a VTuber called Mel. And I really just enjoy their videos. They do mostly BJDs. They also have done a couple videos on Ida bags, which has been really cool. But in their review, they did the Ariel and the Aurora dolls. They actually end up changing their outfits and kind of had the recommendation of if you really like these characters, they are good. But if you're just interested in them as BJDs, not so much, especially for the price. But we'll see if that's my opinion by the end of my review as well. I did pay just under $30 for mine, and it took just under a month for it to get here. I did have to unfortunately order it from Aliexspress. That seems to be the only place where these are currently available, which is very unfortunate because I know a lot of people can get scammed on there. I was very nervous. I didn't want to get my hopes up until she arrived, but she does have this nice lenticular sticker back here with the Disney logo on it because these are officially licensed products. These aren't like, you know, Ice Queen or whatever. Like, this is actually supposed to be Elsa from Frozen. And it has it right there on the top as well. So I was very nervous about it, but they arrived just fine. I'll see if I can link the shop that I got mine from in the description. But again, that's not necessarily a recommendation. It's just, that's where I got mine. We'll also be linking Mel's channel down below, as well as the specific video related to these dolls if you want to see the Ariel and the Aurora being unboxed. But again, Elsa is literally my favorite Disney character of all time. So when I found that there was a BJD of her and it kind of combined two of my favorite things right now, I was very excited. I was also very nervous again. Watching her video, I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to be of good quality and I wouldn't want to end up ordering it by the end. But they were like, yeah, you should go for it. So I went ahead and hopefully it was a good recommendation. We'll find out shortly. But yeah, I think that's about all that I have to say for now. So we'll go ahead and turn around and I'll see you in a moment. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing all those things really helps out the channel. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers every day. And that's really my only goal. So I would really appreciate if you would help me out in that. So thank you, and I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, so we've now turned around. We are looking up at the box. As you can see, I also brought some of my other BJD friends back here so we can see them for a size comparison in case you're interested in them. But here she is. So it says Morstrom, which I do not know anything about. I'm assuming that that is the company that creates these dolls that partnered with Disney to make these ones. Like I said, I know it's Elsa, Aurora, Ariel, and then I want to say that there's one more, maybe Snow White, maybe, question mark. But like I said, I got mine from Aliexspress, and that seems to be the only way to get them. I don't know where they like originate from or anything like that, but here is a sticker that was on the box, and then here's another sticker on the bottom. And again, they're all in what I believe to be Chinese characters, because that's what most of the BJDs are in, is Chinese. But because I can't read them, I don't know. They could be Japanese characters and I could be wrong, but most likely Chinese, because that's where most of these type of dolls come from. So I went to go check on something because I didn't remember the stand looking like this, which this is what it does look like. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out with the box that I did not before. So one, there's no pictures of any other dolls here on the back, and the other dolls in the collection, which there is actually a couple more that I didn't remember. So it's Aurora, Ariel, Cinderella, Belle, and Snow White, and then this Elsa one. On the other dolls, there is pictures of the other ones on the back, but not Elsa, and then Elsa doesn't show the other ones. That is because the Disney Frozen license is different from the Disney Princess license. So if you ever see like Disney Princess and they also have Elsa or Anna, they will usually be separated. Even Disney did that in their own boxes when they sent out PR for like the Mattel collab. Which I guess technically wouldn't be Disney's own boxes, it would be Mattel's, but still, like, they're very particular about keeping those two IPs separate, because Frozen still makes enough money on its own that it doesn't need to be glommed into the Princess lineup. So for like, you know, like IP and like all that stuff, they keep those very, very separate. The other thing I noticed is that my box like was resealed, which is quite interesting, because these here on the side I didn't have to cut. They were already cut, but this is how they must have been originally packaged. And then this was packed like with this here at the top. So I'm wondering if that might have been like a customs thing, and not like a seller thing to have this label here on the top. But I would think that it would be in English if it was from our customs, but I don't know. But she seems to come with everything that she's supposed to. There's not really anything extra that I think she should have. They do all have these earring holes that they don't have earrings that come with them, and she had her stand. And from what I remember, there wasn't like any like stringing books or anything like that, because these aren't really like your typical like BJDs. Again, these are kind of aimed more at like Disney collectors, but if anything, you would think they kind of need to know more information, because they are not as familiar with them as someone who's normally collecting ball jointed dolls. But they are also meant a little bit more for display, again with the purpose of them coming with the stand. So it's this small stand. I think it's kind of an interesting choice where it clips onto them. I wish it was just a smidge taller, because I think it might be designed for like not as high heels as she has or something, because it wants to clip like right on the knee, which of course is not a great place to clip because of the, you know, stringing. I think it's meant to clip right here on the like upper thigh, but like the lower part of the upper thigh, but as opposed to like her calf. But because of her heels, it really wants to sit right here. So it is tricky, but once you have it on, it's on there pretty well. It is a white stand with this like sticker around it that says Princess Within, or True Princess Within. Yes, which I for some reason thought had their names on it. I thought they looked more similar to like how the name badges are here on the front of the box, but it's fine. It is what it is. I didn't buy her for the stand. Here is her faceplate. She is so cute. She has this little red smile, these really pretty blue eyes, and then of course some brown eyeliner and some golden brown eyebrows and a little bit of orange blushing on her nose. Super cute. Let's see if we can take the head plates apart and see what that looks like. So here's her front, which is her spiky bangs. At least this is well constructed that I'm having to kind of like wiggle it out and it's not just falling apart. Here is her eyes from the inside. So it is an eye plate holding them in, which is really nice. So they should, yeah, they are kind of posable if you want to like change the position of which way they're looking, because they are like fully balls inside and not just like flat discs, which that's really nice. You just have to be careful because they can kind of go wonky if you're not paying too much attention to it. But I think that's the first one that I've had with like adjustable eyes in that sense, as opposed to just having to like take them out and replace the eye chips. Sometimes these kind of things have like little tools or something to adjust them, but I'm not seeing anything like that for her. And then here is her braid piece, which she does have these really cute snowflakes molded into the hair. I do appreciate that they're actually like molded in. They are a little bit raised, so they are a separate texture and you can feel them, but they don't feel like they're gonna just like come off. Like they're pretty well molded into the design. And there is a slight shimmer to all of her hair, which is really pretty. It gives it that, you know, icy glossy look. And of course it has his really detailed braid all the way down the back. I think it's a really pretty sculpt. We'll go ahead and put her head back on before we talk about her clothes, just because it's a little less creepy that way. But here is her neck peg. It is a rounded circle with a with a design in the middle that kind of holds that S hook in place. So you don't have to worry about it slipping through, as is properly designed for a doll like this. Just slide that head back on. Even just the head is really well secured on there, which is really nice, especially compared to being used to like the 10,000 Escape Plans dolls where they like fall apart if you just breathe on them wrong. Like I said, they do have earring holes, but none of them really come with earrings because the princesses don't wear them. So that's part of just whatever mold it is that they used for them. So she is wearing this full-length Elsa dress that is also sewn into one piece and does Velcro open down the back. As I said, it is sewn all together, but it is made out of multiple layers and multiple different materials. My favorite is the cape material. It's actually really soft. There's no hemming at the bottom, but it is made out of material that shouldn't hem too easily. It's also, again, designed to be more of a display piece and less of a toy. So therefore, something that we would look for in like a play line isn't necessarily going to be the same in this kind of doll. As for her top though, it is a little bit loose over the shoulders, which is a little bit like, I get that she has an open kind of collar design, but it's almost too loose because it feels like it's going to kind of fall off of her. But it's staying up, but not as well as I would like it to. And then this material that's on top here kind of feels like a paper gown, like that you get at like the doctor's office. I'm not really a fan of this part right here, but everything else seems to be really well made. I like her skirt. This portion goes all the way up and it is a like silky material, and there are rhinestoning here around the waist as well as here on the bottom of the skirt. Honestly, I would try and find a way to take this part off if it wasn't for the rhinestoning right here, because that is kind of a big part of this design. But I'm not comfortable with this material here. Like, I'm worried that it's going to rip over time. But again, the skirt is really nice and the cape is really nice. As that was kind of the impression that I had from the video that I watched, was that the clothes were not the best quality, but that the dolls themselves were worth it. She does have molded on shoes, which are these little blue pumps. I don't know if the other doll's heels are quite as high as hers, but I think her heels are part of the reason why she doesn't fit on the stand very well, but we'll talk about that more in a moment. But I do want to also let you know that she is wearing little panties underneath, which is really nice, especially because some of my other dolls that like could use like fabric panties because their skirts are so short don't have them. So the fact that like I had to like pull up her dress in order to see those, so it's really nice that those are there, I will say. So for her articulation, it is standard for BJDs. She is pretty well strung, like as you can see as I'm playing with her, she is holding her poses pretty well. She has her head articulation, rib articulation, it's at the hips, the knees, and the feet, which, as I was saying, she did wear the pumps. They are molded on, so in order for her to wear other shoes, you would have to get other feet for her as well. And her feet do appear to be a little bit smaller than some of my other dolls, but at the same time, like with the way that her head is proportioned, she probably wouldn't be too bad if she had a little bit larger feet on. And then her shoulders, elbows, and wrists are also jointed. I want to take a quick look at the bean in the knee, standard, nothing too crazy. Now, as for her stand, so it comes in 2 pieces and you click it together, and then it's in there pretty well, so I'm not worried about that coming back out. It is plain white, but it has this like sticker design around the outside that I'm not too fond of. It's just kind of like this filigree, and then it says on here, "True Princess Within," which kind of works, I guess, with the Princess collection, but doesn't work as well with the Frozen collection. Especially because technically Elsa is a queen. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's definitely a very like generic stand, which is kind of interesting for a Disney collab because usually they're very particular about like every single detail. So I may take that sticker off, but I do like the fact that she comes with a stand. I just don't like how it clips on. So I'll show you really quick. I think the idea is that it's supposed to clip onto this part here of her thigh, but unfortunately, again, I think it might be because of the height of her heels, it sits more here on the knee, which does not work with a ball jointed doll because that part isn't stable. It needs to clip onto either up high or down lower where it's stable. I will say I like that it's a leg gripper rather than like a waist gripper or a saddle stand. But again, you can see like it literally wants to hit right in the weakest spot. So if I kind of push her down a little bit, I can get it on her thigh, and then just she has to stand a little bit weird. But I'd rather that than like try and balance it. I guess if you get it on just right and you don't really mess with it, it'll stay. But you have to be really careful. You see how it's already kind of like separating her thigh from her calf, like right there at the knee joint. So I'm just a little bit worried about like stressing that joint out over time. But this dress does pull down nicely to cover it. And then again, she does have pretty good stringing. Let me fix her dress. That's what I was saying about like her top being a little bit too loose. And then you can kind of pose her. And then there's her cape out behind her. Super cute. I am really enjoying her. I think she's really pretty. Again, thankfully, with seeing the reviews that I'd seen before, she was what I was expecting, and I do think that she's worth the price to me personally. Again, I really love the base doll, and maybe someday I'll be able to get her a better dress, but in the meantime, she reads from afar, which is, you know, really the big thing, and I think she'll be a good addition to my Walk the Doll bag when I dress it up like in Disney, because I do like to try and theme it like with my keychains and stuff that are on it. So if I ever do like a Disney bag, I think she'll be really fun in that. And now we'll go ahead and show her with other BJDs in the same scale. She was actually a little bit smaller than I was expecting. So here is our Minty Forest doll. As you can see, they're a little bit taller. I will say I feel like their faces are a similar size scale. So the Elsa does have quite a big head comparatively to her body. And then we have the Antu Cute Beast series, which they're very particularly like their feet and hands are very stylized. So I'm not surprised that their bodies are much bigger than hers, but I will say again that the heads are very similar and they are fairly similar in height. And then I have a 10,000 Escape Plans doll here, which of course is a little bit taller than her. They are a little bit taller than most of the other 112 scale dolls, which is why I'm not 100% sure what their scaling is considered because it's not listed on them anywhere. But I do feel like they might just be on the taller side of a 1/12 doll. But as you can see, there is a bit of a height difference here between these two. But overall, I think she fits fairly well into the rest of my collection. Again, she definitely fits well into the Frozen part of my doll collection and not just the BJDs, which is kind of fun. She's going to be one of the ones that kind of gets a more specific display spot as opposed to the other dolls in my collection just kind of, or my other ball jointed dolls, I should specify, in my collection don't really have a specific like home to go to on my shelves, but she definitely will. So that's really nice. So again, I feel like I got what I paid for, so I am very happy with that. Again, especially coming from Aliexspress, that's really a hit or a miss there. So very happy with her. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Elsa. Let me know if you had heard about these BJDs before or if this is your first interaction with them. Even if it's with one of the other characters and not Elsa, I'd still like to really know about it. Also, for fun, why don't you leave your favorite Disney character in the comments down below? Start a discussion. Let me know who's your favorite. Like I said, mine is Elsa. And thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All of your interactions really do help out the channel. We're slowly growing, and that is only thanks to you guys. So, as I said, thank you so very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon in the next one. Bye.